experience. He's a HR professional with an experience of more than 16 years. Aravind Warrior has worked in multiple sectors in the information technology, manufacturing, and pharmaceuticals in leading MNCs. Aravind currently heads the HR department in the RapidValue Solutions and works very closely with the leadership team in managing mission-critical projects and assignments. He's been pivotal in providing strategic perspective to an organization, apart from being a passionate about keeping up his learning curve while developing and coaching the team and extended team. He's a motivational speaker and also serves as an advisory member for many leading business schools across India. And hi, Aravind.
Thank you very much, Vidya, for your kind words and a great introduction.
Yes. Please, I'd like request you to take over the presentation actually.
Okay. So once again, thanks to TiE, Anup, Arun, Vidya, everyone, and wishing actually everyone a happy and a prosperous new year before we kickstart this session. So thank you once again, Vidya, for this great and fantastic intro about me. And sure. So very good evening, my dear dreamers, doers, and leaders in this session. It's my privilege to take you through this topic. But before I start, can someone just tell me what is your expectation? Because I can definitely give you the lecture because Anup has already been giving me a lot of homework. So before I start, I would request if everyone can just at least, if some of you can just tell me what is your expectation, because life always comes with something called ROI. I cannot afford to waste my leaders' time. So what is the ROI? What is your expectation from this? Definitely, I'll try to give you some of my expectations through my boring slides. But what is your expectations? What are your set of expectations from this session? One thing is adhere to time. Definitely, I'll try my best. Anything more? Yeah, you can speak. You can put it in chat because I'm seeing a lot of leaders I almost see 28 great minds now. Any set of expectations from this session? Of course, the topic is there. Anything more? I'll just wait. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Please post your questions. Okay. Thank you. Any questions? What is your expectation from this session? Of course, yes, the topic has to be covered. Definitely, yes. Okay. Then let me just put you to boredom and then sleep. Okay. Which I'll not. Okay. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Whoever you are. HR challenges during the pandemic. Fantastic. In fact, Vidya has put in that great question. So Vidya, definitely what I've done is first slide of mine is about one of the research which I happen to take from Gartner, the latest research about what is going to be shaping 2022 and beyond. Something which was co-researched by the Harvard Business School and Gartner. That is something which is a thought for everyone. It's a food for thought for all of us. And followed by that, what makes great organization? What is the main catapult which makes the great place to work or a great organization? I will never restrict my thought process to great place to work because great place to work is one of the indicators which comes from the employees, but there are more things. Let's assume I'm talking about an SME kind of organizations, the small, medium enterprises, for which some of them will not be able to get into a great place to work, maybe because of the numbers. But then there are a few things, elements which makes or differentiates great from good. And I'm going to speak on that. And finally, how do you retain in this whole keeping the great place to work in place? Vikesh, okay, SMS College. Okay, thank you. Thanks for joining. Okay, Vani has asked another. I'm Vani, Assistant Professor, College of Arts. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. It's our privilege. If you could give us some tips on the keep business learning for startups, definitely. And Sulekha, post this wherever I stop. You can definitely post a lot of questions. I'll try my best to address it. I'm just talking common sense, some few things which we all as in great individuals, more than individual leaders can do. And my emphasis or my whole topic is around that. Not big gyan from big schools or something, which is practically which we all can do. That's what the whole idea is. And I'll definitely touch upon that, Sulekha. Thank you very much for the igniting thought. Anything more? Okay, then let me start. Okay. Ramya, you have something to tell me? Sulekha, definitely I'll touch upon, and then probably you are one of my assessors for that, if I've done justice to the whole session. Okay. Okay, then with all respect, I'll kickstart my presentation. And if there is anything, you all can stop me anytime. Hope you all can see my screen. You all can see it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so yes, this is one of the important things. Challenging times ahead is what I would say, because looks like our so-called COVID is very, very intelligent. It comes through an AI kind of built-in AI kind of thing, because when it saw people are happy in December, automatically you have new variant Omicron in place. Now we don't know what else it's there in December. I'm quite optimistic, because if we look at the past 2021 and all, we have come through that. So probably human mind comes with a lot of resilience, and that is something which I want to tell everyone. It's a small small HR point which I want to tell you. What are the nature of the businesses? What are the nature of environment we are going to be? The so-called human, the so-called the human beings or the social beings have come with something of the power of resilience. And I would request everyone to just take a note of a book called Grit: Passion, Perseverance, and Purpose. So probably that is something, and I always use, this is one of the words I address a lot of times to students, saying that dogged optimism or deliberate optimism to come back and succeed. So that is something which really has put everyone to think or wear a different cap to address new kind of problems and solutions. And there's the same thing which in Stanford language would be called as a design thinking. You understand the problem, look at it as an opportunity, and convert and bring in strategies to address that problem into an opportunity, or convert that adversity into an opportunity. Okay. Now, very important research from Gartner, the latest research co-authored by the Harvard Business School. So I'm just going to touch upon, and I want everyone to you can just keep your questions to end or wherever you want. Fairness and equity are going to be major issues in an organization. Fairness means the work-life balance, or the people who are going to get the so-called hybrid versus people are not going to get it. That can bring in fairness. That can be a question mark to the fairness side. People will also, there would be, going forward, what would happen is hybrid also would bring in the, most of the organizations, if you look at from the hybrid perspectives, they're looking at, let's assume our own, when a company got acquired by Aspire, they will, though we have presence in Chennai, we were also looking at having small centers in Coimbatore and all those kind of places. This is to ensure how you bring in, how do you aid employees in terms of their effect in ensuring they are productive in the organization and facilitating their workplace. That is something. So fairness and equity will be always questioned. And this is something which will be something which leaders or the organizations, including the business leaders, will have to look at when they are coming with hybrid kind of models or any kind of models in future. Vaccination mandates, the booster is something in place, and that is something which will start taking new forms now. Shortened work week. If you look at, this is one of the new trends I would request everyone to look at. It's not the salary alone people would look at now. I am sure some of the companies have started looking at a 4-day kind of week, so that the other set of amount can be adjusted. So leisure comes into the so-called professional life. It is not only the work. And that 4-day week can be compensated against the so-called 2 days kind of thing. The shortening of the work week is something, a new trend, which you will all see very soon. Employee turnover will continue. It is not going to stop. It is going to be more because of few things. One of the few things which you can look at is basically everyone is at home. They don't have the social life. And as human beings, we want social dynamics, and that is not there. Number two, when you don't have anyone to do this, you have more companies to poach you. Now, if you look at one of the articles which from the Harvard Business School is working from anywhere is going to be the new norm. So like what Japanese, I forgot the company name recently, 2 days back or yesterday, that company was saying, Yahoo, which is saying you can work from anywhere and you can travel, you can take this one as long you feel it's feasible. So companies are going to move from the working from your home to working from anywhere, if keeping the current norm or hybrid kind of things comes up. And turnover is going to be more because now at home, the so-called employees are going to get more organizations in their plate to evaluate and to assess. So that's why these days, if you look at, we were just discussing with Vidya also, earlier days, getting people moving from office when they have to appear for an interview, it's like they have to take a leave and all those things. Nowadays, they don't. They'll say, I just have to take care of my kid. Give me 1 or 2 hours off. So those kind of things are coming up. So that is going to be a new thing now. Very, very important. As long automations, the AI, the RPs, the robotic process automations, and all these things are coming up, using the so-called ML and all those kind of things, you have your tasks getting optimized. You're getting the so-called the task jobs and the work is getting more optimized, which is giving way for managers to do more strategic work. Number one. Number two is to make them more human-centric. That is very, very important, because at the end, if you're doing something very creative or you want to make your team work, this human centricity is the point. And when you can automate or remove that unwanted task, which the whole of organizations these days are up to, what happens is the managers get more time to understand his or her team. Number one, make him or her more effective. Number two. Number three, look into the health, mental wellness aspects of his or her team, which is the most important thing. One of the pointers which I'm going to explain to you in coming slides. The most important, again, remote tools. Yes. Nowadays, you see a lot of companies have got their own tools to ensure the productivity and all those kind of things. I mean, sorry, yeah, we already have those kind of things. But then what would happen is the so-called remote tools will be one of the key, which will also help in ensuring the people really perform. Do they increase their improve or their excellence in what they do? How do you make it a collaborative workplace without you being part of the so-called office? How do you make it in the so-called hybrid? So these are the new things. The tools itself, because of the high-end automations and the ML and the DL kind of things, the tools will become more collaborative. They will improve and measure your performance. Right now, it's just to ensure he or she is there, he or she is working. There is a lot of tasks and all those things. But beyond that, how can you make or extract the best in a talent? That will be the new things which will be coming up. Hybrid workforce will drive return to office. Yes, this is a classic thing, wherein even at a hybrid, also to manage hybrid, sometimes some of the employees, some of the major people who are actually driving the process and the program, it will force them to come to office to ensure the hybrid is sustained and hybrid is effective. That is also something which will shape up in, say, another 6 to 7 months timeline. Of course, yes. Engagement, attachment, attraction, motivation, satisfaction, all those words are well and good. But the most important currently, if you look at the most important metrics, which is going to be there in the CEO's agenda or a COO's agenda, would be how much wellness is being taken care. Are my people healthy? Mentally, physically, are they healthy? Are they coming to every day from their home? At least they are able to be making themselves productive. They themselves are free from that kind of mental burnout and stress. Very, very important. When we say about wellness, it is not about purely the physical wellness. It's about the whole of the holistic, the emotional, the burnout, the stress. How do you take care of women associates? All those things will be the new metric, and companies will be gauged or assessed. Or when you say a great place to work, probably very soon you will say great place which looks or sustains or is effective in terms of the employee wellness. This is going to be one of the new metric. Next, CPO will be the next major C role. When I say about CPO, very, very important, I can only recollect of Simon Sinek, Chief Purpose Officer. My dear leaders, dreamers and doers in this session, the most important thing is in an organization, or the great organizations, is they drive only two things. And I would request everyone to just think about it. Great organizations are built on a great purpose, not good purpose, because good is the enemy of great. Jim Collins. Greatness comes when the people really look at purpose. You don't have to showcase your job description or a role charter, the BCG terminology for a job description. You don't have to showcase that. It comes, the purpose, the leaders showcase purpose, and that gets injected or embedded in the culture. Number one, that's when most of the people start contributing. These are the two new words which has been there for, say, last few years, which has been driving that is what itself is changing the whole of the work environment practices. No more you will say that you have a job description, kindly look into it. They'll say that there's a great purpose in my organization. I'm sure I don't have the statistics. Last year, I remember some of my own students from IMB, most of them, they got into the great organization. I don't want to tell you that. One of the, yeah, you would be knowing the company which you use every day. And that also they said no. 3 of them have joined some of the startups where they feel their purpose is taken care. They feel they can contribute. And the role of chief purpose officer will be a new thing in the whole of this one, who would be directly dealing things with CEO, who would instill the purpose mindset, who will also ensure people contribute than just doing their job, accountability, responsibility, and all those kind of stuff. DEI will get worsened. Sad news, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is the new metric that has to be strengthened. That's why you would have seen these days also a lot of CDO roles, the chief diversity officers, and all those kind of roles are coming up. But seeing the pandemic, looking from the hybrid, that becomes one of the mandates for HR leaders or for anyone to ensure DE mandates are sustained and effectively maintained. Along with the wellness, DEI would be another metrics which will be gauged. So these are the few 10 trends which is going to shape up in 2020 and beyond. Of course, yes, we'll see more. We'll definitely might not see less for sure. Fine. Now, most important thing is, if that's a thing, most important thing is what makes organization great. Because I was just trying, I just don't want to tell you what is the reasons for resignation, because if reasons are there, but then we need to see how you can counter react to that. So I was just wondering, why not state the importance of great organizations? When I say great, it is greatness. It is not good, because great comes with a lot of, what do you say, instilled purpose, number one. Number two, it comes with a clear, obstinate, or dogged determinations to make the organization reach the next level of organization, next level of excellence. That is not only the job of an HR, that is a job of a leader, because leader or the so-called leadership instills culture or instills great culture. And that is why it is very, very important. Of course, yes, greatness is no more an option. It's a conscious choice. The conscious choice which has been made by the so-called leaders. It's a conscious choice made by the people who make the organization great. First and foremost, great organizations always believe in care and respect. They don't have to just make it something in a wall saying that we care for human beings, we care for employees. No, it is something which happens on the ground day in, day out. Respect, very, very important. I might fight with you. I'm assertive. I might fight with you, but I respect your ideas. I respect you as a human being. And this is not, again, something written in the walls. They mean it. They practice it. It is something leaders do the talk and walk the talk. Now, clear definition of success. Very, very important. I always believe that whenever a person is joining, clearly the manager's role is to set the expectations in place day in, day one, not day two. He or she has joined your great organizations, make things very clear for him. It is not a rocket science. And everyone is a human being. I would definitely like to know, what is my role? Okay, chalo, you told me my role is an HR guy. Now, that's great. But what will I do? This is where, again, great organizations delete or what do you say, clean up something called your job description. They tell them this is the whole purpose of my organization. And your role is to ensure that purpose is reached. Your role is not to just look at the role or responsibilities and accountabilities and say that 9 to 11 job, 9 to 6 o'clock job, I'll not do anything beyond this. And whatever return is there, I'll do that. No. Great organizations. If you look at a company like a Google, I would request all my faculties or leaders, dreamers, and doers in this batch to just type a project called Project Oxygen, or just put Google 10x. There, every project says moonshots or loon shots kind of projects, which is like creating an impact, IMPACT. And that is something which is very, very important, which again differentiates good from the great. Contribution and purpose. Make people contribute, not do job, not do work. Then it's that loses the passion, the purpose, the perseverance. Leadership with compass identity. Very, very important. George, I forgot his name. His book called Authentic Leadership. Very, very important. That is something which I always see as my Bible. Authentic leadership is driven by the values, the ethics. They can sacrifice anything, but their values and ethics, they will not. The true authentic leadership is what people are looking at. And when it comes to great organizations, they'll sacrifice everything, but for them, people values and ethics is the core of the whole thing. And that is why it is called leadership with a compass. Their moral compass doesn't change. It's authentic leadership. Bill George, Authentic Leadership books, his all work books, you can just try. It's one of the best selling books in the value centered leadership. This one. Flexibility. Nowadays, if you look at performance, I had to give a session at one of the colleges where I was telling students, like, nowadays, if you look at, gone are those days when you have a set of things, it is written as a KPI, KRA, you have to be measured, there is an weightages and all those things. Of course, that is there. But keeping the current, this one, the emphasis is ensuring people are flexible, adaptable, malleable in terms of the outcomes, the outputs. That is something which we need to measure. If you're giving him a chance, if the organization leader is setting the right culture, right definition of the expectations, where they can contribute, you will see people delivering excellence. I'll repeat, people delivering excellence. It's all about setting the expectations, where people understand their purpose, where they also understand what to contribute. Once that is set, you will see people doing great things, not good things. And flexibility is not just flexibility in terms of the policies, but everything that has to come from the leadership. They have to drive that. Now, VAR. I would request all my leaders, dreamers, and doers in this batch, you can forget anything, but kindly just recollect only this thing. Every human being wants only three things: valued, appreciated, and recognized. Nothing else. Once you do this, that again sets the organization that again differentiates great versus good. You value, make someone feel valued, someone feeling appreciated for the contribution he or she does, and also respect his or her ideas. That will give him a room to do more. That will give him or her room to contribute. And this is what great organizations should be looking at. Entrepreneurial mindset, very important. Gone are those days when people used to just look at driving or seeing people as one of the employees. Nowadays, if you look at some of the great organizations, I would request everyone, if time permits, to just read a fantastic book called Humanocracy, wherein what it says is basically companies like Haier in China, probably you would have heard about Haier fridges and all those things. They have created a platform and an organization where everyone is an entrepreneur, where everyone is a micro entrepreneur. Fantastic, right? Where they know they have to manage everything. They know they have the team to manage. And that's how they're spreading that. Robust non-compensation benefits. It is not just purely the compensation benefits which hits you up this one. Try to see how you can create other set of benefits where the insurance, some of things where you have the recognition kind of things. It can be even a smallest of gift or a smallest of token of appreciation. All those things is also something great organization differentiates. It is not fully about the money, my dear leaders. It's beyond that. Yes, stand for something more. Very, very important. Most of the organizations just try to differentiate themselves from the CSR activity. The Generation Z, which we all are talking about, they also want to see whether my organization, if it has got greater purpose, is it serving something to the community? The so-called political process or anything, has there been any this one to drive that? Political kind of this one, that is very important. Embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes, I would have seen one of the important things which is there. This is where, when heterogeneity of people are there, ideas start spurring up. All great organizations is not saying that we'll just have women leaders. Women leaders are important, but you need to increase the word called diversity. Age, gender, experience, religion. I remember AGE, age, gender, experience, disability, religion, everything. You got a race and ethnicity, all those kind of lenses you got to expand, and then look at something called DEI. Don't just say that we have women associates, that's it. No, we got to expand the thought process around the DEI. Next, learning and growth opportunities. I don't have to tell you that. If you look at some of the organizations these days, they are encouraging organizations to set up, or they pay you for taking courses from a Udemy, EDX, or Harvard, or anything. Very, very important aspect. And that is very important, because as long I feel my organization, and this is where I would request all of you to just, if time permits, check something called Gallup Q12. My manager takes care of my learning and growth. Very, very important. The so-called generation, the Generation Z, is looking whether the organization provides me the learning and growth opportunities, let it be technical or non-technical. Is it really caring for my growth? Is it caring for my development? That's what the new thing is. Now, if that is the case, if these are the few things which differentiates, how do you do that? And why do you have to have strategies right now? Because the whole topic which we are discussing today is all about retaining them during challenging times. And great organizations does this, but they do this with some kind of strategies, practical things, which is very, very easy, which you all would be knowing. During any kind of times, or let it be any worse situations or a good situation, this is another extension of the same thought, which we just saw in the previous slides, some of the insights which we gathered in the previous slides. What happens? Great leaders, irrespective, keeping their ego away and all those, they try to ensure they involve, they make the younger generation participate in decision making. I don't know how many of you have seen the latest trend or the video which is coming up in YouTube about Tata having a friendship with one younger guy. They remove the ego. They want organization to succeed. That's when what they do is, when it comes to decision making, it's a team participation model. Very, very important. Leaders who come with the participatory mindset or the participatory leadership mindset, or when they exhibit it, people feel that I am respected, I am valued, I am appreciated. And you never know. And this is where diversity helps. The heterogeneity, not homogeneity, heterogeneity helps. And very important. And during the times, this is very important. People are going through their own struggle. This one, they'll feel, the manager is putting a lot of efforts to value my ideas. At least he's listening. Very important. Recognition and awards. Yes, sometimes it's not about money, my dear leaders. It's just about a pat on the back in front of everyone. Human dynamics, social dynamics. Everyone wants to be appreciated. Everyone wants to be recognized. Do it with your heart. That never involves cost. When someone is calling you, say, good morning, thank you very much. That sense of gratitude itself can make a difference. Most of us, we feel if I say something like that, people will not like it or people will take advantage of it. No, my dear leaders, great leaders value, respect, and make the other person feel appreciated. And it is a very, very important thing. And at least we need to do it today, not tomorrow. Increments and rewards, that's one choice which we don't have much. But keeping the current great attrition or great resignation, we are forced to do that. And that is something which should be done with a lot of due this one. Kindly ensure increments and rewards is not the only ends, but let's try to ensure when you're applying any kind of strategy, let's try to ensure we are using other strategies and take this as the last rescue. Increments and rewards doesn't have any end. But of course, yes, if you have to do a market corrections, I agree. But other than that, if you do it, this particular thing or the greed, as Mahatma Gandhi rightly said, there is no end. Training and development. Kindly invest a lot on that. People will love it. They will not leave, at least when you showcase. And when I say about a training and development, it is not necessary for a small, medium enterprises to invest in any Udemy kind of things. But I always can tell you, you can always invest in something called mentoring, shadowing. There is something called buddy kind of things. Wherein, and also you can also do something called, so I'm not able to get that, community of practice, COP. There's a book, you can just type community of practice. All those things, when you do that, the person itself gets feel elevated. Okay, this one, because of my words, action and thoughts, Others were benefited. That is the training and development opportunities I meant. It is not purely giving him horror, Udemy and EDX. Some of the organizations can, some of them cannot, but think wider. You can just make the lens wider, then you will understand, yes, many opportunities are there. Involved faculties from outside, involved faculties also to this one. Go and teach in colleges. Who's stopping? And in fact, I was able to do that. I can proudly say that we were able to explore many of this, and people are feeling proud about that. We were partnered with NASSCOM. Actually, I mean, the main Anup and probably Arun from NASSCOM had really helped us in facilitating that in this kind of things. So there is no dearth if you really explore in terms of learning and development. We need to do that because that's the only thing which is free, and that is something which will make your employees tied to your organization. Automate. Yes, the people get so frustrated, especially the Generation Z. They are so much tech savvy. If you give them redundant kind of tasks, if you really, tell them that this is how the process is, think once again before doing that. Because if they feel things are really redundant here, if they feel things are really monotonous, they will leave. They want things to be agile. They want things to really create a meaning in themselves. If not, they leave. Now, okay. Sabina, may I complete and take it? Is that fine? Thank you very much. How do you effectively manage remote work? Okay, Jairam, I'll definitely answer that also. Thank you. Okay, 1 minute, sorry. Autonomy and empowerment. My dear leaders, freedom of thought. We cannot have micromanagement. Sorry, micromanagement age is over. We are talking about Generation Z, millennials and baby boomers who now need freedom. Great ideas spur up only when you give them the room. And then you cannot say, here we don't do it like this. You have a gun here, but you say that come innovate. Innovation is our mantra. Stop it. If innovation is not your mantra, stop it. But if you say someone to innovate, give him the freedom to explore, make your talent curious. Have you created the environment for that? And curiosity is the number one important skill, my dear leaders, you should instill in an organization. Create an environment that is psychological safety, where people can ask questions, think about questions, where, when, and how. That's when, because most of the times I always challenge my HR team itself, please ask questions, because engineering, the so-called software engineers are brilliant than our HR. Never ever underestimate only we know policies. They know more because they always come with something called the curiosity. And this is something which is very, very important and the need of the hour. Feedback, very important. This is the latest research. Probably everyone would agree to me. Everyone in this millennials need feedback, constant feedback. There are gone are those days when you used to have quarterly performance appraisal and all those things. If you look at companies, great companies, Google's, I would request all of you to just read if time permits. I am not able to recollect the author. It's called OKR, Objective Key Result kind of book, which is really taking a new leap, which always says, then and there, spontaneous, if you can give feedbacks, people will learn from that and they'll move forward. Most of us, we should document it. That's another thing. When people get the feedback, they'll say, my manager is actually taking time to help me advance. He's really taking time to value my contributions. These are the few things which you should keep in mind while giving feedback. It is not that when you give feedback, people will leave. No, it's about giving performance-based coaching feedback. If my manager says, Aravind, this is not the way you should be sending mail, but this is, you can definitely send a mail. If it would have been better, you could have done these things. Next time, I will not do it. That's real learning, which is happening in me. And feedback is essential, keeping the current norm. Take the phone, give feedbacks. People understand that you are valuing their contributions. Not deleting their mails or not accepting their contributions can backfire. Future. Most of the team meetings, they just try to say, okay, stand-up meetings is, okay, this is what it is, chalo, we are closing it. Let's think, wherein tomorrow, my dear leaders whom I'm addressing, do you have some future to tell them? I would definitely like to see what is the future which my organization is moving towards. That's where your town hall meetings, all those things is good. All hands meeting and all those things is good. But let's think beyond that. Does my own reporting manager, beyond the so-called CEO, who would be little difficult to approach, but then does my manager or a project manager knows the new trends? Does he or she comes with a flavor to understand the latest technology? Does he or she knows what the future is? That's when I'll respect. That's when I'll feel, okay, this organization is a learning organization. This organization values the technology, or this company is something which is looking for future advancements. And some of you can just definitely argue with me, the future is really uncertain. No, of course, yes, when Omicron came, nothing stopped, right? If you look at it, PNG, their supply chain never stopped. DHL, it never stopped. Medicines never stopped. Technology never stopped. So the future is something which we create, and that has to be communicated. The shared mindset has to be there. Then only people feel that, okay, this is an organization which has got future, and I'm contributing towards the future. The great purpose which is set by the leaders, I'm contributing towards that. I'm sorry. Constant communication. I don't have anything to say that. This is where HR leaders should facilitate a lot of conversations, because I was just talking to Vidya before this. Communication should start from the top leadership, and it has to be cascaded to the lowest level. There is no more barrier saying that I'm a CEO, CTO, CPO or anything. I'll not talk to employees. No. Here is the point. I need to talk. I need to have constant communications, and that too video calls if permitted, because you never know what is that person going through. Sometimes your facial expressions can teach the other person a lot of things. I always tell my team members also during my HR team, that only happens once in a week. Kindly come online. That's okay. And same thing when you're talking to someone, do that. You never know what people are going through. Everyone is fighting his or her battle. So it becomes very, very important and prominent for an HR person to ensure you talk. Let it be even you talk, Hare, excuse me, Aravind, how are you doing? I'm doing good. So how is the family? Is everything fine? At least the people feel cared. And that is very, very important. And when you talk about the emotional wellness or anything of that kind, that all boils down to only one talk. When someone is going through a burnout, if someone has done a very critical project, all my leaders in this session should take up the phone or arrange a meeting. You cannot go out, unfortunately, but then at least in a Zoom or this one, you talk to them, that people feel, wow, he has taken the pain to do it. Let me really acknowledge it. It happens. Positive work environment is the outcome of this. This is where when you start giving care, respect, valuation, and appreciation, automatic results in positive work environment. How much you can do small things. We can arrange some kind of talks. You can definitely ensure you bring in some kind of wellness kind of doctors. Whatever way you can do that. Because in previous thing, the pre-COVID days, 2019, there were all kind of luxuries available. Now, everyone is fighting his or her battle. We got to create that kind of environment. That's when people will contribute and speak out. So with this, I'm ending it. This is my coordinates. All of you can reach out. And now I'm open for questions, thoughts, insights, and everything.
Thanks, Aravind. That was a pretty awesome session, actually. It was not at all boring, and it was pretty entertaining, in fact. And I think all of the attendees have enjoyed the session. Requesting all of you to actually type your questions in Q&A, or you may even raise your hands wherein we can let you in and speak to the speaker directly. So, any questions?
We have one in the
yeah. I think Jairam had
Jairam's question.
How do you effectively manage remote workers? So Jairam, this is the only thing actually. This is something which I learned and I have actually practiced it. That's one, these 10 things which I've written there. This is something which you can opt for and try experimenting it. I am a firm believer HR or management is something which is subject to a lot of experimentation, something which works in Google or in Amazon need not work in our organization. And whatever we have been successful need not work in an Amazon also. So if you can just think of combination and permutation of all these 10 aspects, probably it can help in ensuring working from home work better for you. Because one thing very important is all about communication. Do it with a lot of heart. People will respond to it. Most of the times we don't want to do it because we ourselves are ill. But then in HR, if you believe in human relationship or human relations, it is all about creating that kind of relationship through your words, action, and thoughts. Let's do it. And this applies to even your managers also. And I think you, when you have to manage working from home, that becomes an imperative for the manager to do it. It is not HR's job. Sorry, let's put a full stop here. It is not HR's job to communicate. Let's assume I have my team member. I have 10, 15 members. It doesn't take much because I am getting my work done from them. So it becomes my moral duty to talk to them, understand what they're going through. Number one, understand what are their mental states. You make him or her slog, and then you don't have the basic courtesy to not to talk. That's not right. That is not HR's job. Sorry, I can beg to differ with anyone and everyone here. That is not HR's job. HR's job is to facilitate. Tomorrow, you as a manager say that, okay, can we do some kind of counseling? Of course, yes, HR will pitch in. Before that, people are working for you. Respect, value them. They will return everything what you want in life. Jerem, I don't know whether I've answered your question. Sorry for the confusion. Okay.
What criteria should be used to select a HR for a medium-sized hospital? Dr. Suneet Sood had put the question actually.
What's the size, ideal size of an HR? Correct?
What criteria should be used to select a HR for a medium-sized hospital?
Okay.
And how do I retain them? So he's basically asking what is the criteria when I'm selecting a HR for a medium-sized hospital, and how can I retain them in the hospital?
Ma'am and sir, only one thing. HR, it is not about, with a lot of this one, I have actually been fortunate enough to work with my professors from, with my mentors from XLRI and TiE. It's not about the brand alone. If a person comes with a lot of optimism, it's just a combination of three things. Let me not confuse you, sir. If a person comes with a purpose, wherein he says, my job is to transform the people, my job is to ensure people are safe, that purpose he or she exhibits, which comes from your body language. Number one, that's one measure. Number two, when he comes, ask him a lot of questions around what kind of things you have done. So that always gives us another cue or a clue whether he is a person who comes with a lot of hard work and perseverance. That is number 2P. Number 3, his passion is also there to create an impact. Most of the people, when you look at, if you have to hire someone, I only use these 3 Ps. Your purpose, whether he or she is really, because we all are talking about people who are beyond 18 years. And by the time everyone should have some maturity about, some people may or may not, but at least if you're hiring an HR person, definitely after college or this one, 24 years or 18, 19 years, he should have the clarity of thought. Because if you have clarity, that means the purpose is set. Perseverance, you can ask him, when this kind of incidents happen in your life, how did you manage it? Most of the times, the people should not lie. If eyes goes up, it's lying, but most of them, they should not lie. The perseverance is there. Automatically, it comes out in your body language. Third is the passion. Yes, I want to do something for the humankind. I want to do something for the organization. These 3 indicators would be the best, this one. And if you have the right person, you don't have to worry about the retention. Retention, give him the right motivation, give him the right opportunity, avoid micromanagement, give him platform to explore and create a mark. He or she will do great job, not good job. I don't know whether I've answered your question, sir or madam.
Any more questions? Okay, let's wait for the other questions to be posted too.
Sure.
Yeah, he has replied, thanks. Yes, answered very well.
Thank you.
Okay. So I just wanted to understand, Aravind, what are the redesigning measures you in terms of employee engagement and retention you've taken in RapidValue systems when you consider your company? So in terms of pandemic, especially, when the pandemic hit and it was totally new to everybody. So what were the measures you had taken?
Okay, mostly, let me just confuse you with a acronym. CT, one more I'm trying to confuse. Okay, no worries. First bucket is around the communication. We really strengthened our communication, Vidya, because more than anything, if you look at, because this is something which, see, I report to Mr. Rajesh, who is again a TiE long-time member. So Rajesh Padnyar, I'm very proud to report to him. Very important thing is, he was an IIT-IM alum. So for them, it's all about numbers, is what normal person would imagine. But this is where some leaders really create. I'm not here to brag, or I'm just not trying to brand it, but still I would request everyone to understand. This is where, again, good leaders gets differentiated by the great leadership. He said, Aravind, let's stop everything, big things, everything, whatever it is, you stopping it here. We are going to communicate with all 300, 400, this one during the course of time. And he took step. Every Friday we used to have tea per charcha kind of thing, wherein we used to have normal, everyone along with their children, newborn babies, pets, everyone we used to talk. We used to select only 10 people from different, this ones, SC, SSC, even TL and PM we used to have. And different projects, not one project, different people, so that they know each other. Because this is where the social dynamics has come to, where water cooler conversations, everything has come to an end. So communication was something which we gave a lot of importance. That is coming from C level. Next is where the so-called delivery heads were asked every week they should connect and they should put their, listen, let's assume if someone XYZ has got a COVID, we try to help them with some kind of kit and all those things. So that also really changed the perspective. And next was primarily in terms of actually giving them a lot of learning and development opportunities. Because we, in between, to be very honest, we lost one or two important clients, but Rajesh was a little upset. But he said, Aravind, whoever is there, let's try to ensure they do a lot of courses in Udemy and EDX. See, we could easily stop it. But if someone, the employees itself feel, okay, during this time, whether my employment is coming to a standstill, but here is an organization who started spending on my upskilling, reskilling, and cross-skilling, that these things, we did it during March, April, May. And then in June, we took something called the Pulse survey within our organization. That really resulted in saying that our leadership really exhibit care. They really exhibit something called respect, value, and appreciation. And it was stated in clear words from a lot of employees. Because I think you have a lot of choices when it comes to this kind of chaos or in this kind of life-changing incidents or this one, where you can stop employment. That is one thing, to cut all your operating expenses. But here is someone who's saying, I'll invest, because these people, where will they go? And these are words which came from his heart. So I am proud to be part of those kind of leadership, which really shaped my thought process also, Vidya. Sorry, I spoke.
Actually, yeah, no. That was actually a great stint of human connect. Yes. Which actually Rajesh had that has actually brought in a great impact in your organization. In fact.
Correct.
So I just understand why it became a great place to work also. So that's my next question. But before that, let me just ask one of the questions which was posted by Shafiq. Why should we avoid micromanagement?
So Shafiq, the first question is, why should we have micromanagement? When we all are human beings, Shafiq, everything in life is all about trust. Trust. If you don't need micromanagement. I would not have succeeded in RapidValue if Rajesh would have called me every now and then asking me what is happening, what is doing. We never did. I can proudly say it. I can give it in writing here. I never worked for RapidValue. I worked for Rajesh. I can proudly say, because what happened, he gave me only one thing. When I joined my third day, he was in the US. He said, Aravind, don't come to me for approvals. Do whatever you feel like for the organization. See the amount. He has put me in more pressure. More than micromanaging, he's put me in more pressure, because now I have to do great things, because he has got that trust in me. And he said, I'll not look into anything. Do whatever you feel like, which fits the best for the organization. That is more problem than doing micromanagement. My dear leaders, please understand. Shafiq, when you have trust, and believe me, Shafiq, we are in the generation of Z, where if trust is not there, they will not do anything. They'll say, thank you very much, and they'll leave. And trust, when you have trust, autonomy will be there. Then when you have trust, empowerment will be there. And that is where the psychological safety is there. And these are the blocks of psychological safety. And I think we should not be doing. And this, I would request you to read the book called Humanocracy, which is about avoiding bureaucracy. And that will answer your question. If not, let me know. I'll also try to help you out more. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Please post or raise your hands. So I'll get into my next question. Having a wide range of experience across different domains, I'd like to understand what is it the same employee engagement, the same in all the domains, or in all the industries, or is it different?
You're asking whether employee engagement is same across industries, correct?
Retention.
Okay. It's the same. Sorry. My sincere apologies. It's the same, Vidya. See, it is just that in an IT, we are so, I must say that we are so blessed. That's the right word I can use, because we are so privileged. We can work from home. I always, when I go, when I have to buy some grocery, I always feel sorry about the people in Star Bazaar or anything. Wherein, see, the way some of the managers who are actually so-called the white collars who have to just supervise them, they are okay, but still they are in Star Bazaar. Do we have that? We are so blessed. So for them, it becomes more different to take care of their employees, because next day you don't know what is going to happen for your team member. Because if any of the customers have COVID, these poor guys have to be in hospital, and for them salaries are not that of an IT kind of crowd. So it becomes more important for managers to keep that touch point, let me use that word, touch point, to be more. The communication aspect should be more finished than what you have in IT. You still are so blessed. If something happens, you can say you always have 10-15 days COVID leaves. Of course, yes, other industries definitely have, but there the limitations is very less. So when you're looking at the retention strategies or the engagement strategies, it varies, because you need more deep pocket connect with the employees there. They're not so sophisticated. So your words can make a difference. I don't know whether I confused you or I convinced you, Vidya.
No. Like, I just wanted to because we have a different set of, I think, a diversified crowd as our attendees. So I thought I will just ask it for them also.
Okay.
Okay. Has HR tech integration actually helped your retention strategies during the pandemic, or was that like, how did it? Were there new strategies? Were there some new measures you had taken just to retain your employees, or because the attrition was too high during the 2020,
yes.
And even now it is like there are companies having more than 30% attrition also. So
I don't have an correct answer for this, Vidya. You put me in spot, but the most important thing. But only thing, Vidya, what I see is basically when we have the connect, when we were able to have this more of the team cohesiveness kind of events. We used to have this kind of wellness programs, when we used to have the counseling sessions. These are the few things, nothing. See, everyone is doing it. It is not that only our company was doing it. Everyone is doing it. But the most important thing is if you have regular connects, wherein you don't get the people to think if they have got an offer, then you can control it. Most of the times, the whole this one lies with the manager. Because manager has two options. Either he can say, I have a lot of work because I have to manage the client and manage my team, and then he doesn't have the connect. That the choice is with him. Second is where you have another manager who says, let me manage the client, but my team members are more important. The second manager is of who will help us in retention. And that culture has to set from the top, Vidya. If it is not coming from the top leadership, where the person himself doesn't care his or her team members, that will not get cascaded. You take it, you can have any kind of, interventions. But when you don't create a culture of valuation, appreciation, and recognition, it is going to be very, very difficult going forward. Of course, yes, these days you should not expect that kind of commitment also. The crowd is looking only for the mola, basically in terms of salary and all the things, which is very dangerous. But still, I think if the touch point is big, you would have seen some people saying, right, I'm really afraid to go and talk to my manager to say about my exits. He will kill me. So that is the relationship. So that is what people should take your, relationship to. Create experiences in any relationship. That is what people are looking for, than any kind of engagement.
Okay. And just to understand your expectation or your analysis for how will be the workforce management post-pandemic, or like this is an ongoing thing definitely for quite some time, like maybe in another couple of years also. But after that, how do you think the transformation will happen, and what will be the challenges which will come in terms of employee retention and workforce management, basically?
Vidya, I can foresee one thing, basically. Hybrid will remain now, because most of us, we have accustomed to this, including the children. Now, only I usually was wondering, I'll take my own scenario. I have a 6-year daughter. My wife and daughter has been so much attached. I told them to get detached. She doesn't understand. Now, with a lot of due respect to all my women leaders, I'm just telling you my scenario. Kindly don't, I'll put it my scenario, where I usually tell her also like what would happen. So I started imagining, because see, if this is a case in my house, same would be applicable for children who are growing and all. So that kind of this one will, keeping this in mind, most of the people would only look for hybrid kind of thing. You take it 2 years, 3 years, 5 years now. Let's assume maybe this year end, COVID is stopped. Let's assume there are some traces here and there other than it's stopped. Then you ask people to come in 2023 to office. Definitely there would be resistance. Because this is because all these years, the whole of COVID has changed our mindset. It has given us that kind of comfort and all those things. Now, comfort in the sense like it has moved us to that kind of, what do you say, our whole body, mind, we have just, okay, accustomed to this work from home. So it's going to be very difficult, considering even for anyone at house who is married or not married also. So that kind of comfort will always ensure we are going to be working from anywhere. So, and also what would happen is the human connections can get impacted. So it becomes very, very important for managers to keep, because now, as I told you, the manager relation should be more. Now human centricity should be more, because people are going through a lot of mental this one. Otherwise, you cannot do anything around retention and all. As long you don't keep that, you always see people as transactional, you'll never be able to do anything. Keeping the working from home mindset, you need to do a lot of things, because you cannot bring the whole 2019 again. That's my thought. Of course, yes, I wish that happens, but looking at the work front, no.
Okay. And one last question before we wind up. I don't see any further questions actually, so I'll take the privilege of the next question also. Like, what, according to you, has to be the key factor in terms of HR measures when somebody is thinking about a startup? Like, I'm going to build a startup of my own, and what is one of the key measures I should be taking note of, according to you, which will actually help me in this pandemic, especially scenario?
If you could just tell me, if you could just
reframe?
Reframe.
Yeah, I'm going to start build a startup right now, and I just wanted to understand what will be what, according to you, I should follow as a key mantra to have a good HR system in place.
Okay. First and foremost, have regular connects. Most of the time, when you have a talent inside, it is, even right now, most of the companies are moving towards exits. I mean, the notice period of 3 months. Keep the connect. Otherwise, you are not going to get the talent. Number two, have stable processes, because people are looking for processes during this time. It is like, I cannot always call my HR or manager. Have stable, consistent, equity, fair kind of practices and programs in place. As an HR, it becomes very, very vital, keeping the current norm. Connect, or be the touch point. And also, whatever you're speaking, going forward, please. Now, there is something, I mean, if you happen to read more, the Gartners and the, what do you say, all of the big companies, Deloittes of the world, are using the word called experience. I would request all my budding HR leaders, dreamers and doers to ensure whatever you do, try to see if you can create an experience in someone. Not give him some, let's assume if your employee is asking you about, give me something around a paternity policy or an adoption policy or bereavement policy. It is not, you as an HR will make a leapfrog difference when you do something beyond that. Let's assume if I'm asking my HR about a paternity policy, it is very important. He shares me the policy, but can he also take the phone and ask, are you expecting something? I mean, your wife is expecting, what exactly, do you need any other help? This is where you create a remarkable experience. And this is my humble request to all my leaders, budding leaders. Keep this in mind. The world needs experience. You don't buy an Apple phone because Apple phones are greater. I'm not here to promote Apple phones, but then you buy Apple because Apple phones give you an experience, lifetime experience. You pay a premium for that. And you become, and if HR is able to create a remarkable experience, that's when you become a brand. Your so-called department becomes a brand. Otherwise, there is no other mantra. Sorry, I overspoke.
Yeah, thank you, Aravind. That was a wonderful session, actually. I'd like to take the privilege of thanking you personally and on behalf of TiE Kerala for actually helping all of us to have a better insight about the topic. And it was pretty interactive session, and the presentation was very nice. And thank you all the attendees for being online and contributing for the session. And I thank TiE Kerala giving me the opportunity to be a moderator for the session. Actually, that was my privilege.
Thank you very much, Sunit sir.
Yes.
I'm humble and I'm honored. Thank you. Once again, wishing you and your family members a great year ahead, prosperous year ahead. Safe.
Yeah, happy New Year to you too, Aravind.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.